Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you for sticking around for our panel. Love you. Hi. Oh yeah, you guys need microphones. So, how are you guys doing? Good. It's a marathon for us because we have the weekend, had the huge show last night, and of course we had to go out and celebrate till 3 in the morning. We had to, part of our contract. And then tomorrow we drive down to Bowling Green, Virginia and have 3 shows down there, so pray for my voice. Hopefully it lasts. If not, Billy, you're up, singing the hits.
It'll be the Michael Borja screens.
Mike Borja? Doing introductions? Is that what we're doing? What are we doing? We are speaking in microphones.
We are on a panel.
We are on a panel. Sure, go ahead. Tell me you are, Mike. I'm Mike Borja. And on the end there, we have with the beautiful gray hair.
I'm Stephen Norton.
Stephen Norton. This is Billy Moran. Everybody. Okay, we're going to take some questions. How about over here? Wait, who are you? I'm Rob Benedict. If you didn't know that already, then you haven't been listening. Hi.
I'm Pao.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question for Billy specifically. I was at the Evening News for your first solo show, and it was wonderful. And I was wondering if you can talk a little bit about your solo writing and performing and how that's been going for you in general.
I mean, it's one of those things that's just, I'm just constantly looking for some sort of creative, it's almost escapism in a way when you kind of write something. With Swain, we have so many creative people in this band, and we have such a huge amount of song and content that comes through. It's almost impossible to complete everything. So I just took myself and set aside some time and just wrote a bunch of songs that were really meaningful to me, both about family and life, and wins and losses, and it was just a really fun process. It's really cool. Rob and I just recently finished a tune.
And that'll be on is that for your new record?
It'll be on it, yeah. And it's just been, it's been a really liberating process, just to kind of get into my own head and, sit around there, which is a scary place sometimes, but it was a lot of fun. But yeah, so I'll be playing some stuff tomorrow on that second show for that as well. So.
Yeah, tomorrow our second show is sort of it's gonna turn into sort of a
party.
Yeah, party. Yeah, we're gonna shift around. We might do Bizarro Swain, which is where we all play different instruments. I'm actually not in Bizarro Swain. No, I was never in Bizarro Swain. I'm a fan.
One of the ideas we have, though, we talked about this.
Okay.
What is Bizarro's swing?
Okay, good question.
I play drums.
Billy's the drummer.
I play piano, or guitar, or bass.
And I play piano,
And you're the lead
guitar,
singer.
and
Guitar.
sing.
And you're the lead singer, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, there's 2 guitar players, right? There should be 2 guitar players. So you play guitar,
Right.
Rob plays bass.
Rob plays bass.
I love playing the bass.
Loves playing the bass.
He loves playing the bass.
But we talked about actually just getting in a room and just rehearsing as Bizarro Swain and seeing what happens, and maybe release an album that way. Which would be really kind of neat.
Yeah.
I want to hear Robbie on that bass.
Oh man, I love slapping that bass.
Oh, you slap that bass.
Alright, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Over here.
Hi.
Hi.
Which one of your songs would you love to have on Supernatural?
So yeah, we've had 3 of our songs were on Supernatural.
Got Big
Worlds
One,
Collide.
Worlds Collide,
Big One.
Big One, and Pop Tart Heart.
yeah.
Those were on Supernatural, but I think our song Wave is pretty cinematic. I think that would work well. A wave might work well in Supernatural. What else of ours that maybe has like a classic rock kind of feel to it?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
There's quite a few songs.
The new one that's on the new album coming up.
Yeah.
One of Billy wrote, right? What's the name of that one?
Fortunately, the show's over.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Write Debbie down.
The show is still on. It'd be a candidate.
Yeah.
Yes, there's lots of stuff on the new
My
record.
favorite thing though about that was like when Worlds Collide was placed. It was a really, I remember we were all tuned in. It was like, America's. And I remember like my solo started and then immediately it cut to AC/DC and Angus.
Yes.
So it's like I had a little crossover with Angus on TV and it was really cool. Yeah, I don't know what else though.
I think Wave, Bandaged Hand maybe,
Yeah.
Foolish Romance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of our songs really fit into it.
Basement of No Hope would have been great.
Yeah, why not?
Some of those hell scenes.
Exactly. Yeah, we loved it. We were always so flattered when they chose one of our songs. Phil Segresha was really the producer and director of the series. He was always very supportive of us and helped us get music in. And then Rich in the last season, I actually was like, hey Rich, you're directing this episode. If there's any spot for a Louden Swain song, it'd be nice to get in season 15, just slot that in. He's like, oh, great idea. And then he picked Pop-Tart Heart.
Yep.
Put a song on the Radio Shack.
Put us on the Radio Shack,
Yes, we
that
did,
scene
yeah.
that I was in,
Yes.
which I forgot until just now.
Is it called Radio Shack?
No, it's called like,
Shack of Radio?
no, it's called like,
Radio Shed.
Yeah.
Nice.
good
They were
call.
subtle with the.
Yeah.
That'd be a good yes or no question.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey guys,
Hi.
I couldn't let it go. Rob, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Can you please share a Tim Amundsen story?
A Tim Amundsen story. What's a Tim Amundsen story that relates to the band? Is there a good story?
There was that piano he had that was really funny about Psych.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a good
That
one.
was good.
Yeah.
Were you there for that? That was like a few cons ago.
I was Vegas this year.
Yeah.
Vegas this year, Tim Amundsen was telling the story that on Psych, every time they had a guest star that they really loved, when that guest star finished, the crew and the cast and everybody would sing the guest star happy birthday. And that was something that Psych always did. And I was like, I guest starred on Psych, and I didn't get happy birthday. And the boy, Richard had a field day. Richard, that was the best thing Richard ever heard. So we all had a really good laugh about that.
And then we didn't let it go the whole weekend.
No.
We
Yeah.
kept
Did not
on-
let it go.
We kept on like just
Yeah.
digging in like, oh yeah, the crew guy they sang
Yeah,
happy
right.
birthday.
Yeah, everybody got happy birthday,
Oh,
but
remember
not.
the extra that got
Yeah.
happy birthday song.
And then I said, and the ironic thing was, it was my birthday.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't, but it was a funny joke.
Well, it's my birthday, so thank you guys.
Oh, well, happy
Happy
birthday. Perfect. To you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
Tim Amundsen's biggest fan.
Happy birthday to you. Hi.
Hi. Yesterday, Rob, I got to ask you about your first convention, which led me to thinking about how did you become the host of the convention and how did y'all become the house band?
Well,
Richard Spake Jr. production.
yeah. Rich at one point was asked to host just a one-off Vegas convention because Vegas is a pretty big deal. It's a 4-day convention. They invite a lot of people from the show, a lot of guests. And so they asked him to host that one. And he said, you know what, I'll do it if Rob's band can play and we can be kind of like the Tonight Show. And he'd kind of wear a suit and we would wear, and we would be the band. And we're like, okay, the band was like, okay, well, we'll do it. But we're not going to be Louden Swain. We're going to pose as a different band. And we called ourselves the Elastic Waistband, and we wore like leisure suits. Mike had a long blonde wig. I had a wig with a headband, and we all had alter egos. Norton, you were
Carl.
Hot Carl with a Hot Carl with a
And I
K.
was Sir Richard Furlong.
And he was British, but his accent was
with a
iffy.
really bad British
Johnny
accent.
Hot Pockets.
Johnny
so it's
Hot
Johnny
Pockets.
Johnny Hot Pockets, and I was just Tango. And so that worked. For that convention, it really worked. And then they started to invite. It worked, so they started having us do that more often. And then it got to the point where we were like, yeah, we kind of just want to be ourselves. Because people didn't really realize we were Louden Swain. They thought we were the Elastic Waistband. And at first it was funny, and then it was like...
funny. Well, Richard loved it. I think it was really Richard's idea to have us. I think he just wanted to get us dressed up.
Yeah.
And as soon as Shepard got involved, he's like, "You guys gotta ditch the costume."
Yeah, then Mark Shepard kind of took over, and he's like, "Listen, no, this isn't working. No more costumes. Stop wearing that silly wig. You guys aren't a joke." Yeah, exactly. You guys are musicians, for Christ's sake. Yeah. Have some dignity. At one point, when Jared, that first weekend, Jared was like, "Hey, get it up the elastic waistband." We're like, "Oh no, everybody's gonna think that's what we are." So then we changed it to the real band, and then Richard and I decided to start sort of co-hosting, and it's kind of organically morphed into this thing where Richard and I were co-hosting, and the band is on stage, and then we started doing the concert on Saturday night. And now Richard doesn't come he does about half the con, so that's when I kind of took over with the hosting job, which is super fun. And a challenge, to be like, because when Richard's hosting, he's like, give it up for David Hayden Jones. And then I'm like, and I start singing the song. How's it go? Every girl crazy about the dark. So it's weird, and now I've got to be like, David Hayden Jones, every girl's crazy about it. I have to do both, but it's super fun to do. So it's just kind of organically wound up. This is what it is now. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Beth.
Hi, Beth.
Hi, Beth.
I was just wondering, when you guys were in high school, what band or album was just like lock yourself in your room and listen to for hours over and over again, and you still hear it and just go right back to that place?
Oh man, there's so many.
For me, it would be U2 Unforgettable Fire. Was Pride in the Name of Love, and that album that had that on it, and Bad was on that album. That was the one I would listen to it all the time in high school, and I listened to it while I studied. And it was just like, and every time I hear that album now, it's like, it brings me back, and makes me emotional, and I was going through kind of a tough time, and it really got me through that album in particular. It was emotional for me, so, yeah. What about you guys?
I would say in high school it was probably the Metallica Black album, maybe, or Use Your Illusion 1 or 2. I think they came out around those. Yeah, those were on repeat, just nonstop.
I was an Appetite for Destruction girl.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
There you go. I think I had like 5 in rotation, heavy rotation. It was The Who, Who's Next, The Cure, Head on the Door, Queen is Dead by the Smiths, Rush, Moving Pictures was the other one.
Yeah, for me, like the first record, it was actually junior high for me. That would have been the first record like that. Would have been "Shout at the Devil" by Motley Crue. And then in high school, it probably was something like, I don't know, like Def Leppard, Hysteria. It was so huge, or maybe, I don't know. The Guns N' Roses record got played.
Were you a big Poison guy? I was imagine you listened to Poison.
I did listen to them, but not as much. But it was always like it was all that '80s rock that I was into.
Oh,
And for Rob and I, it's REM that kind of brought us together.
Yeah, like Rob and Mike are the pop side, and Billy and I are the rock side.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say pop. I mean,
Well,
we're
it's like-
indie alternative pop
alternative,
and all.
we're
Like,
alternative.
Debbie Gibson, Madonna, you.
come on, no, come on. You're saying
alternative college radio.
new wave.
It's honestly, Mike and I are more.
You guys are like the hair band. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Mike and I are more into emotional music.
I know.
They're all talking
You guys are
at
like
once.
the hair band.
Mike and I are more the emotional music, and these two are more like metal.
Yeah.
Put things through a wall.
You know.
And this is just an observation for Billy that basically every band that was mentioned, the guys wore eyeliner, and that's just me throwing that out there for a friend. So think about it.
I don't know, did Slash ever wear eyeliner? I don't know, maybe.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta get a hat.
Only if Mike applies it.
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
I'll play it.
Shalom.
Now it's getting weird.
Yeah.
So you got to
Is it?
do Billy's makeup for tomorrow.
Is it getting weird? I mean, come on. Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
My name's Jill. I used to be in a cover band, so I was wondering, what's a song that you guys would love to cover or have covered that's been your favorite? Because mine personally has always been Valerie, because it's so much fun to do, you can do a lot with it. So what is your favorite, either sing or play as an instrument?
That one's great. We've done that. That's a great song. I love the original song of that song too, the Zootons. I really love doing Whipping Post. That was such a challenge to learn for all of us, and then we kind of brought it together. And Jensen sang with us, sang the lead, and and once we got it was like I just wanted to keep playing it. So I really loved Whipping Post.
I like when we did Shot in the Arm by Wilco. I think that was a lot of fun. I would say that one for sure.
Mike?
We did a long time ago, was the Radiohead song. Was it Stop Whispering? I think we did that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Those early days.
Yeah.
What was the Bruno Mars tune that we did with Jensen?
Did a Bruno Mars tune?
Yeah, it was like Bruno Mars and somebody else.
Oh, like a Silk Sonic?
I can't remember what.
Stapleton, Chris Stapleton.
Oh, Chris Staples.
Well, it was Chris. Yeah,
right.
that was a super fun song to play.
God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a super fun song to play live. I also like the Chris Stapleton tune that we did.
Purple Rain.
With Jensen.
Purple Rain was great.
Oh man, Purple Rain. Was
Chris Stapleton did Purple Rain?
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure he's done a version.
Yeah.
In terms of one we haven't done, gosh, there's always something I'm listening to where I'm like, oh, this would be fun to play. I don't know, Paranoid Android.
Yes.
Hotel California, okay.
There you go.
That would be fun to do that solo together.
You know what, I was about to say, at least no one said Freebird. Who said that?
The same guy that's been sitting in the back row.
Yeah, shouting it the entire weekend. Our entire careers.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So this can be kind of a consensus answer, but if you had to cast your bandmates in a role in Supernatural, would they be a hunter, a monster, an angel, or a demon?
Wow. I think
Demon.
He would be a demon.
Demon here.
Yeah, definitely demon.
For sure.
He would be hunted.
That's not one of the choices, Mike.
Oh, sorry.
What would hunter or a monster? I think Borja's a hunter.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And I could see Norton as an angel.
Yeah.
With the long hair and long hair and maybe some wings.
Those locks.
Yeah. So I guess that makes me the monster. That's a monster, but I'm a monster monkey. I'm a monkey monster.
Just a sassy monkey monster.
Sassy monkey monster.
Are you shaking your tail?
My tail's like hanging on this bar here. It's like makes no sense.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Thomas. My question for you is how long have you been playing the instrument you play for the band, and what drove you or inspired you to play that instrument, or lead vocals in your case, Rob? What drove you to choose that?
Thank you, Thomas. For me, I have been playing since about the age of 13. I think I was in 7th grade, and a friend of mine, I always knew I wanted to play drums, but my parents wanted me to play saxophone and piano and all this other stuff, and so I took lessons for all that stuff and hated it, like absolutely hated it. I didn't want to touch it at all, and did the bare minimum to get through that. And then I had a buddy who was also in band with me, whose parents bought him a drum set. But I knew, like, from 4th or 5th grade that I wanted to be a drummer, but my parents just wouldn't do it. So my buddy got the drum set. He sat down to play and was having a hard time, couldn't play the set. I went over there and sat down and could play it right away, like basic beats, nothing fancy, but like I just knew how to play it. Like, it was crazy. It was just something like that was in me. And so that really inspired me to push my parents to let me get a drum set. So finally they did. So I've been playing forever, but it was just something that literally was something that was in me. It was just, I feel like I was born to do it.
Didn't you start playing the trombone or something?
Saxophone.
Saxophone. Yeah, for me, I started playing piano when I was about 7. And so that's how long I've been playing piano. And then became the bass player kind of by default.
Yeah.
Because
by necessity.
Yeah, we were
We needed a bass player. We had 2 drummers.
Yeah, we had guitar player. So one day I just went and bought a bass and just started to learn it.
Mike's just a very musical guy, and he really was a piano player, then he was a guitar player, and then we needed someone to be a bass player in the band, and he's, we were both guitar players for a while, and he was like, all right, I'll do bass. So yeah.
And we switched around a lot.
That's right,
in the early
yeah.
years, too.
I had two of the older brothers. One had a drum kit, and then the other brought home a guitar one day, and I loved both of them. I just always thought drum kits were really cool, but I never really got around to practicing or doing that with the drum kit. So I had my brother's guitar, which had like 5 strings on it, I think. They were real dirty, and I just would just pick it up and just play these things that didn't make any sense, but they were just my fingers everything was just kind of working. And then I had this buddy up the street from me that his dad also had a drum kit, and he was actually taking guitar lessons, this kid Eric. And he was like, hey, you should learn some chords. And he started showing me these chords. Immediately everything started to click. I'm like, oh wow, I could play 3 chords now. And then, and I went home and I just started playing to albums. The Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, again, that was instrumental in like just picking up dexterity and stuff, like learning Sweet Child of Mine and Welcome to the Jungle and all those songs just by ear at the time, because they really didn't have a whole lot of like sheet music and stuff like that available where I was, so I just kind of just had to trust my ear. And then eventually when the tablature came out and I could kind of read tablature, it opened up a ton of, doors as far as creative learning and stuff like that, so yeah. I would say about 11 or 12.
I was 12 when I got my first guitar, but in terms of your question, singing, I was in a couple musicals in high school, but I remember the first time I sang in public, I really had to figure it out. We had to change the key of the song. I was in Oliver, and I played The Artful Dodger, and they had to change the key of the song so that I could hit the notes. And that's when I first started sort of working on it, I guess. And then I practiced alone in my car a lot. I remember in college one time, someone saw me in my car, and they're like, I saw you and you were going to town. I was just singing my ass off in my car. I also would go down to the music school on campus, and I would rent a room, or a practice room, and I'd go in with my guitar, and I'd make recordings of me singing and playing guitar. Started to write my own music. And then I just started. When we first started the band, it was me and Borja and a third guy, and we were all guitar players. We were all singers, and then it just kind of organically became that I kind of became the lead singer, and he became the bass player, and the other guy was the guitar player, and that kind of just organically happened. And Mike and our voices always really blended together super well. And but anyway, when I became the lead singer, I was like, I better work on this, so I'd start taking voice lessons. But I've just always identified with singers, and I'm very passionate about the songs we sing, and I guess that's what inspired me. Is I really can get my emotions out through music in that way, and I think that's what inspired me to do it.
What was the first song you ever learned on guitar?
On guitar?
Yeah.
Jesse's Girl.
Nice.
Billy?
I learned, it was the bass line for Where the Streets Have No Name.
Nice. What about you?
What was the
First song you ever learned on the instrument that you're...
When I first got my own drum set at home, I put on Kiss, the Lick It Up album. And the first song on that album is All Hell's Breaking Loose, which is literally the easiest song ever to play on drums, because it's just doom, cha, doom, cha. So it's literally 1 foot, 1 hand, that's it. And I was like, I can play with music. Yeah, that's where I started.
I am music.
I am music.
I
can play drums.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Hi.
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 What's your name?
Shit, I can't even come up with anything good because there's mimosas. Anyway.
Mimosa. Hi, Mimosa.
Hi, Mimosa.
Hi, Mimosa.
Best show you've been to, both arena and club?
I know my club show right off the top of my head.
What's your club show?
My club show is Rage Against the Machine at the Roxy Theater in LA. So there were 500 people. It was when I worked in the music industry, and it was a private event, and literally I watched it with Slash and the drummer from Guns N' Roses right next to me, and like all these other rock star dudes that were there. And so it was like you were shoulder to shoulder with all these. It was crazy, man. And it was just the smallest room, and it's Rage, so everybody was still doing all the stuff that they do at a Rage concert where they're just going crazy. But in the Roxy, where it's like 400, 500 people. So that was amazing. That was just.
You also saw No Doubt, like play to nobody.
I saw No Doubt play for 5 people at a club in Dallas the year that album, the year that Tragic Kingdom came out.
Before they were discovered.
Yeah, and it was like that was in, I think, October or September, and then they played the K-Rock Christmas Party or whatever it was in December and blew up from there. And so that was a really cool show too.
Best, let's see, I would say Radiohead at the Hollywood Bowl. That was the In Rainbows tour. And then, it's gonna sound strange, but the Soup Dragons in a small club in Boston where I was the victim, well not victim, but I kind of volunteered to be the guy that would body surf basically over the crowd. So yeah, I was the guy just being constantly tossed over the crowd and came home with bruises under my arms.
Oh my God.
Was this the same show that you got arrested selling counterfeit merchandise out front?
No, that was...
Mike Borja used to pirate merchandise.
That's a strong word. I made these...
A strong but accurate word.
I made these homemade, I made them, silk screened them in my college dorm, like REM green t-shirts, and thought it would be a good idea to make some money and sell them in front of the Boston Garden. And then they got confiscated. Immediately.
You got locked up.
Permanent mark on his record.
Yeah.
William?
I would say there's been a lot of arena shows that have been just blew me away. But I would say seeing Green Day in Melbourne was probably
that was super fun.
completely mind blowing.
That was so fun.
I mean, just watching Billy, just front that band, and he was literally insane. And then that was one of the very early shows on that whole tour. It was early in the year, and then we're like, we gotta take everybody that we know when we get back to LA to see the Green Day again. They're playing at the Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl, yeah.
And
we saw them again
we saw
that
them at
same
the
year.
Rose Bowl at
Yeah.
the very end. It was like the last show on the tour, and they didn't miss a beat. It was the same exact energy, and it was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's like I was never really a huge Green Day fan, but I always had a great appreciation for them. But seeing them live was just a whole different animal.
They were entertaining. Yeah. For sure.
And as far as small club shows go, I would say seeing Jeff Buckley at Toad's Place in New Haven, Connecticut was probably,
Fucking Toad's Place.
Yeah, there was like 30 people there. It was the best.
I changed my answer to Left on Millbury. I think it was my favorite band.
Left on
Millbury.
There's Left on Laurel.
Left on Millbury.
Left on Laurel or Lost in Mayberry?
Lost in Mayberry. Yeah, and Lost in Laurel.
Think of a logo.
The show was so good he doesn't remember the band.
It was so good. Blew me away. Love the guitar player. I thought we should hire that guy.
Oh man, that's fun to watch.
What about you, Robbie?
Best, it's hard to pick one, but the best arena show would be either U2 Joshua Tree Tour in Kansas City. I was like 17, or Pearl Jam at Lollapalooza 1992 in Chicago. It was pretty amazing. More recently, Radiohead at the Hollywood Bowl was awesome. And small club, I won a ticket and got to see Jane's Addiction play at the Roxy.
Nice.
Yeah, which sometimes big bands like that will do little small gigs before they go out on tour, and that's what this was. And Flea was playing bass for them.
No way.
So it was Jane's Addiction with Flea, and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah. Was he what?
Were there socks involved?
With their socks.
No socks involved.
Was
no.
he clothed?
No, that's more Red Hot Chili Peppers thing. Yeah. No, he had it all on. Thanks for the question.
Yeah. I want to say I think my Coliseum show would have been like McCartney or, oddly enough, Lady Gaga puts on.
Yeah.
Ridiculously sick show.
We have time for one more.
So you're headed to Bowling Green, which is a small
I wondered if you grew up rural, urban, or suburban, and what do you prefer?
Rural, urban, or suburban? Where did you grow up? So I grew up in a town that was the area of like, the whole area, it's called the Quad Cities. It's on the Iowa-Illinois border. I grew up on the Illinois side in a little town called Moline that's like population 36,000. So it was like, it was kind of small town, but yet the area with all the cities in it were about 250,000. So it was a really good like sort of middle ground. So it wasn't really, I wouldn't call it any of those. It was like, it was somewhere between a small town and suburban, I guess. Yeah, and I love that. I mean, I moved to Phoenix partially because the grind of LA got to be a bit much, like with the traffic and all that stuff. So I have a hard time dealing with that stuff. So.
Yeah, same here. I kind of grew up in that same type of environment, you know, rural, suburban. I grew up 40 miles north of Pittsburgh. So, and some of you have been to my house. I know.
Creepy.
It was a bus tour.
It was a bus tour. It was a bus tour. It was a bus tour. Let me just say that. It was a bus tour of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You see my
And you know who you are.
You know.
You know who you are.
You know, you know.
Quad Cities, Quad
I grew up in Fairfield, Connecticut, which is about 45 minutes east of New York City. And
Fairfield.
So Fairfield. I would go to the city often, and I was in between New Haven and New York City, so.
So that's suburban then?
Yeah. I had access to some sick shit.
Yeah.
Mine, kind of the same as these guys. I grew up in Columbia, Missouri, which is a college town. So, you know, when I grew up there, it was more rural. Now it's kind of a small city, I think. It's just a developed college town. But it was a great place to grow up. And, but I've lived in urban areas ever since then, and I really enjoy it now. Where I live now in Los Angeles, there's a lot of sirens, a lot of activity going on, and there's oddly makes me feel comfortable. It's weird, but I'm one of those guys that like I can go to sleep with the sound of helicopters and sirens. Just like lock the doors and like, I'm in safe. I hope I make it through the night. But I grew up in a really, really nice town called Columbia, Missouri.
30 years in LA does that to you.
Yeah.
Totally.
Helicopters are white noise to you now.
Yep. Well, guys, I think that's the end of our panel. So thank you for being here. And with that, that is also the end of our onstage portion of the...
Boy, Norton left in a hurry, didn't he? He just done.
And that's the end of our drummer.
I'm getting something.
Oh, yeah.
So we're looking for a drummer, if anybody...
He says thank you on behalf of...
I'm gonna grab your... Here you go. We're gonna finish our onstage portion of the show with a little song we like to sing. And the convention is not over. You're still gonna have your photographs and autographs, meet and greets, but that's the end of the panel. So thank you for staying with us and having such a great weekend. You guys were awesome. Thank you so much. We've all been talking about how vocal you are and how much energy you have, and that really keeps us going. So thank you so much. And everything else, it's the end of the con as we know it. It's the end of the con as we know it. It's the end of the con as we know it. So go home. Thank you, everybody, for a great weekend. See some of you tomorrow. Good night. Goodbye. Thank you all. I love you so much. Thank you. I will.
Bye.